happy Freddy Krueger Day and Planet Dirty.
The tank portal is open. All residents of Planet Dirty evacuate immediately. The tank portal has been opened. May God help us all.
Mongolian beef. It is off the chain.
Oh, I don't
It's
taste
crispy. Dude, it's fantastic. That shit is fantastic.
It's party time. It's excellent. Planet Dirty.
For me, I want hockey pucks. It's got to be. I want my burgers on the grill.
Bird. I want a dog crispy black bird. No. Yeah, it's not real life. Hold on, right.
You said I want a hockey puck on the Yes.
Yeah. You are a nasty. So the ones that nobody wants and on the plate at a cookout, you're the one getting all those. Yeah, if I'm on the grill, the burgers are going to be fucking crispy. Really black. I do like, what's the guy?
I was really hoping this would be the show where that just keeps going for like 15 minutes straight. That's what I was hoping for.
What are you wearing?
My Howling Horror Night shirt again.
Okay, you're better than me. I was going to say, watch me and Brandon wear Jason shirts to a Freddy show.
I almost did, actually. I had this really cool, that's awesome. I had this really cool, neon sweatshirt. It has Freddy, Jason, Leatherface on it in, neon colors. But it's, 500 degrees to fucking wear that thing. So I'll pull it out in wintertime.
I want to welcome everybody to the show. Brandon, they're excited. You can hear me fine, right?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound
okay.
All right.
Sexy. Excellent. I like it.
So, Brandon, I want to show you something real quick. Because, guys, guess what? This is y'all's show. Y'all are going to talk Elm Street with us tonight. Brandon, Mac updated. There's a new update for Mac. Check this out. If I have my phone connected to my profile, whatever it's called, your Apple ID, and I have a Mac computer with an Apple ID, I can literally have my phone by my computer, and wirelessly it can become a webcam. Watch this. Wirelessly, watch this. That's my cell phone.
Oh, nice.
That's my cell phone.
That's bizarre.
And look, Brandon, I got your favorite horror movie on the wall.
Oh, God. There it is. God damn that movie. God bless Jackie Earl Haley, but Jackie Earl Haley, yeah.
How cool is that, though, dude?
That's pretty gnarly.
Wireless. I'm going to go back to the webcam, though. I like the webcam look. Let me get some lights going on in the background. Hold on, Brandon. I'm out of sorts today. I'm a little dark, too. I'm a little dark.
Wednesday.
I'm sorry. As you could see, Brandon, I was rushing. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even talk to you before the...
I know when you sent me the link and I got on and it was already playing. I'm like, oh shit, did I miss the link? Because my phone's been buggy lately. So
I was running behind.
No worries.
No
worries at all.
This is y'all's show tonight. Please drop a like. Let's get to these super chats, Brandon, because guess what? We're talking Elm Street tonight.
We are.
Okay. Of course, Saturn Video. Thank you with your Is that a critter?
It is.
Dude, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Lock your windows, bolt your doors. Hide your Reese's pumpkins. The nutty loons are coming. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
That's actually the secret title of Loon 4. So
thank you for the continued support from Saturn Video, dude. He, without beat, drops a $5 super chat. I mean, that lets me know you really enjoy the show, man, and it's become a part of your life. Dude, hey, message me, Saturn Video. I'm gonna send you a free wax melt. Send you something. I'm gonna send you a free wax melt for all your support. We got TGB. I don't recognize this one. Let's effing go. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Let's throw him a little something his way. Brandon, I'll tell you what. I heard you review movies. Is that true?
It's better than all of them combined.
Freddy's a nut.
More chuck for the buck.
Would you agree with both of those reviews?
Yeah. I love the kind of cocaine everybody was on in the 80s that, they ask a guy, well, like, what'd you think about Freddy movie? And he's like, Freddy's a nut. Like, that's all you have to say? Like, what's going on here?
You know what's funny, Brandon? Me and Cody the other night, we watched that clip after when you couldn't be on the show.
Mm-hmm.
We were bullshitting after the show. Cody, I showed Cody that clip, and we both were intensely, painfully laughing because if you watch the clip while his friends next to him are talking, he keeps trying to say it.
Oh,
he keeps trying to get it out while they're talking, and finally he gets his moment. And dude, he's so proud. Freddy's a nut.
It's amazing.
Thank you, TGB. Mickey B with a $5 super chat. Hey, Christian, have you seen the message I sent you on Patreon? Just wanted to hear your thoughts and Brandon's thoughts. I'm sure I did, Mickey, but I worked 12 hours today, so I don't remember what it was. I could look it up on my phone right now. If you don't mind, though, Mickey B, write it down in the comment section, and I'll get to it again. I'm sure I do. I'm sure I even responded to it, but I don't remember it off memory, Mickey B. Thank you. Then we got one more super chat from the Pat Master, who's also a channel member. Channel members are open, guys. Become a channel member. Thank you so much, Pat Master, for the $5 super chat. Let's say hello to everybody in here, Brandon. We got Dice Rolling, Curse Media, Dude Who Loves Movies, Adrian James, Alexis Horror. How are you? Good to see you, Alexis. Dylan, Norn Red, Nuclear. We got a lot of people here. Vengeance, Justin Smith. And how long until it turns to a food show? Well, Brandon wants to talk about the pizza from part 4, but we'll get there. Akeem, how are you? Kevin, how are you? Don Juan, how are you? Katrina, how are you? Nathan, how are you? Horror Bloody Horror, how are you? Connor Shuhart, how are you? Jaden Christopher, how are you? Witch Hunter, how are you? Sean Senior, everybody's here. Chris Snyder, how are you? Everybody, welcome.
Yes.
So, Brandon, why don't you explain to the audience how the birth of Freddy Krueger Day? Because I think a lot of people, you have to kind of really be a fan to like research this kind of stuff, but can you explain to the audience, in case they don't know, what Freddy Krueger Day is and why it is an actual holiday?
Matter of fact, I'm actually having kind of a brain fart on that. It's September 13th. Is that the day that the first film came out in theaters? Or am I wrong on that?
I guess I got to school your punk
ass. You got to school me. You got to school me.
The
My
mayor
brain's fried after the 12 hours worth of videos today.
When Freddy's Dead was coming out, the mayor in California, I forgot the specific town, declared it Freddy Krueger Day.
That's right.
In 1991. So it was during the Freddy's Dead era, which is why I made a Freddy's Dead post today.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Which I will fight for tonight. I will bludgeon anybody in the chat that disrespects me. This may be the last. This may be the last Planet Dirty.
It's the splitting of the ways, man.
And if anybody disrespects the remake, which I got my poster up there now, I'll fight. What I'm going to do, Brandon, is I got to find it. What I wanted to do is this.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big poster guy, as you know. I love to hang movie posters up.
Yeah.
I was like, let me do a theme. Mm-hmm. And so the Nightmare remake and the Friday remake, Brandon, they had the same font on the poster, same exact font.
Yeah.
They have the same kind of vibe, except different color palettes. And Steve Jablonsky, who did the score for both movies, did an incredible job. So they really are a brother and brother type remake. They pair together. So I was like, wouldn't that look great on the wall together? The red and blue kind of thing. We'll talk about the films, sure, but I just thought it would look cool. So
yeah, no doubt.
Brandon, how was your day before we get started?
It's pretty crazy and chaotic, but it was a good day. I was like monitoring the videos all day at work and stuff, so it was a good time. It was a good time. You?
I can't complain. I didn't work too hard today.
Yeah, it could have been worse. As far as Wednesdays go, it could have been worse.
I gotta watch this tomorrow. Last House on the Left remake, not the original, the remake.
I've not seen that movie,
dude. They put a 4K out of it. Yeah, they put a 4K out of this, which is just so out of left field, especially for Arrow Video to do it. Yeah. So I gotta review that. I just watched Sleepy Hollow. I'm assuming you're a fan.
Pretty big fan. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but I loved it a lot.
I loved it. I think it's one of his best movies.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Sleepy Hollow doesn't have like a merch thing going on, like Spirit and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
they probably should.
Is taken, yeah, they should. That would be a great property.
Then I got this Frightmare from Vinegar Center for $11. $11.
That's a bizarre cover.
And I got a movie about Cody. Dude Who Loves Movies. Boggy Creek 2. The Legend Continues.
There's no way that's good.
What do you mean?
That's got to
be
terrible. That's got to be terrible.
Yeah, but dude, look at the slipcover. Who cares about the movie? You call yourself a physical media collector? Who cares?
Slipcovers are what's important.
It's a double-sider. It's from 1983.
Wow.
All right, Brandon.
Yes.
And also, I got this in the mail. I probably didn't need this at all, but I got it. That Walmart Steelbook. I know you love it.
Damn it.
But you know what I like about this for real?
It's a cool looking cover.
Does it look like a 1930s horror movie?
It does. It does. It looks like a double feature, a double bill. It's pretty cool.
All right, Brandon. You know what I want to do today?
What do you want to do?
I want to start backwards.
Okay, let's start backwards.
Because I just watched the Elm Street remake.
God damn it.
I want to start with the Elm Street remake. Chat, are you guys okay? Chat in the chat right now, guys. Give me a star rating for the Elm Street remake and feel free to elaborate. I want a star rating for the Elm Street remake. But listen, if you haven't watched it, and at least if it's been over a year or so, be honest, but temper your reaction, because I always have this expression. Brandon agrees with me. If you haven't seen a movie in over a few years and you feel, here's the middle, if you just say the movie's all right and then you say it could have been better, a year later your opinion's going to naturally dip in. Even though you haven't seen it, your opinion will dip in. But if you liked it and then you're like, that's pretty good, and then like a year and a half goes by, you might say, oh yeah, I really liked it. And so you may be exaggerating, not intentionally, but you may be exaggerating your opinion. Brandon, is that a fair statement? Do you find yourself doing that sometimes? That's what I do.
Yeah.
I think we got another super chat. Let's see. Oh, we do. Alexis gave us a super chat. Thank you, girl. Let me find it. She gave us $1.99 super chat. A super chat for a super movie. Freddy's Dead. Well, you're in luck because we're gonna get to that sooner rather than later. Thank you very much. Let me give you a little something for that. Let me give you a Brandon classic.
With all these nicknames, everyone that I accumulate like 3 pounds of fat.
Feedback.
As far as the super chat goes, I am not.
I'm gonna pull up the movie. I'm gonna pull up people's reviews as you begin to give your assessment, Brandon. Which I did see your review today. You did a great job today, by the way. An incredible job.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Brandon. I'm gonna be pulling up people's comments.
We're talking about the remake, right?
Of course.
It's just I'm aware that there's a lot of people who like that movie. I saw it at the drive-in. I saw it several more times at home since the movie came out. It's just I don't know what it is about that movie. I'm not really a fan of Jackie Earl Haley. Seems too small. I don't like his voice. I don't like the makeup. I don't like any of the actors in the film. I find the movie to be very vanilla.
What's your issue?
Dull, boring.
This is Freddy Day.
The only thing about that movie that I like is Clancy Brown in the small role he was in. And I was going to say, Jablonski. Have you ever just listened to it isolated? The main theme. How insanely creepy is just so good. I don't think it's one of the better in the franchise, but it's better than the movie to me.
I think it's top 5 of the soundtracks, not music from the motion picture band stuff, but like music. I think Jablonski's main theme is incredible.
Yeah,
and for the remake of Friday the 13th, but we're not talking about that. I just love Jablonski. I think
he does good work. I mean, even we're not talking about Transformers, but even in those films, some of his work on those films was pretty good. He can do pretty epic stuff when he wants to. I know you and Nick were talking about that. I made a video about it tonight. The plot twist, the red herring plot twist of the remake. That really burned my ass that they didn't go through that. That would have made the movie like at least 3 times better.
What was their MO? Do you think then to not?
I don't know.
Because there's no way in hell they were filming it as it was him being innocent, and then they changed their mind. There's just no way, right? So, what do you think the MO was for their? Was there? Because in my mind, Brandon, in my mind, if he was innocent, you can easily figure this out. He made a deal with the devil to get revenge, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else would it have been for him to become the dream demon?
Yeah.
To get revenge like that, to go after the kids, which is so evil, dude. It's right there.
Right.
It's brilliant.
It's amazing they didn't go through with it. I remember even like seeing it the first time I saw it. I was like,
you probably said,
"There's no way they're going to
shit.
do this." Yeah, and then when he ends up being evil, I'm just like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. Like even back then, you're aware of how much of a missed opportunity it was.
I agree.
So,
right now we got a lot of low stars, Brandon. Right now the average is about 1 star. We've had a couple 3 stars, 2.5 stars, a lot of 0 stars.
if it's out of 5, I would out of 5 stars, I would probably say 1. But if it's out of 10 stars, I would probably say 2.
We'll do 5 stars. We'll do 5 stars.
Man, it's just it's.
I think this is the highest we've gotten so far, 3.5. Because PP Dangler gave it 3. Alexis giving it 3.5. She says it's solid. Curse Media gives it 3. Brandon.
Yeah, it's weird because I can't explain it. I think the movie itself, the remake, is too different from what we know, but it's also too the same to what we know. I can't even explain that in proper English, but
I'd
it's
say
too safe, but it's not. I don't know. I can't explain it.
I'd say
like both
Nuclear. Would you say Nuclear is basically giving it 3.5, maybe 4 stars if it's 7 out of 10?
7 out of 10 is pretty damn good. Yeah, I think it's 3 or 4 stars.
So let me give we got another super chat from Ben. We'll get to that in a second. Let me give my 2 cents really quick. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Sydney watched it. Sydney actually wanted to watch it, and it was funny because the first thing she says during the opening scene in the diner, she says, "Oh, thank God, I missed this." And I was like, "What do you mean you missed this?" She goes, "Oh, I missed it when teenagers look like our age now."
Mm.
I guess because like in the beginning of the film, the guy that's, gets killed, he's got a big beard. He's kind of like a bigger dude. He just looks like an adult, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be 17 years old. And the broad that's with him, the blonde hair girl, I forget her name. I don't remember if they used different names, if that was Tina or not, whatever they call her.
She's like the Tina equivalent or whatever.
Tina equivalent. She is in Supernatural, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. I don't know if you've seen it, Brandon. You might have seen
Only
it.
the first 3 seasons, but it was good what I saw.
It's great, yeah. So that's her, and so now I look at this movie through a little bit of rose-colored glasses, especially in the opening scene. I actually like the opening scene pretty good. I really my takeaway this time was I don't think Jackie is bad. I think they just did a lot of disservice to him. I just would have went a completely different route. I don't mind the more legitimate burn face, but it does limit mobility and a certain aspect personality to the character. But if they're going for a different, like, hey, Freddy, the original Freddy was animated, let's try it differently. I can't knock them for trying. My takeaways was I actually liked Quentin, the boy. To me, this is his movie. It's not a Nancy movie. And with Rooney, I don't know, dude. Like, there's a part of me that's like, this is a pretty girl, and I like her. I just want to give her a hug. But at the same time, it's just like there are moments in the film when I was watching, I was like, if you don't care, why should I care?
Exactly.
I have moments like that, but I like her. I've seen her in she was in a movie called Her, which was a Joaquin Phoenix film. She's great in that. She's great in it. So I don't really blame her on a personal level. She's an actor. There's a director. They're in charge. You know what that's like, Brandon. You're in charge. So I like Clancy Brown, like you said. How could you not?
Yeah.
Clancy's the best. I'd have to go 2.5 stars. That's where I sit with it. I'm 2.5 stars.
Out of 5?
I dislike more than I like, but there are things I like about it. But there's things in the remake that the original just clearly does better, which is Freddy coming out of the wall. CGI is pathetic, and there's really no excuse because if you watch a movie like The Frighteners, which came out in 1996, there's a scene where the demon comes out of the wallpaper.
Yep.
And that was 1996. That looked better.
Way better.
And I even Googled it to watch it on YouTube, or YouTubed it, which is weird. CGI is always going to be weird like that. And the scene where Tina, if that's the character's name, I forget, if that's her getting flipped in the bed and stuff, it was too... I don't even know if it was really bad, but what really got me is I don't know, the crudeness in that room legitimately rotating. It just wasn't better than the original scene. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it just was. I'm not saying it was even bad, but it was just not as good as the original scene.
Yeah.
Then you get your Chris Angel guy that's, dating. She was dating the girl, and then she went to the. Wouldn't you think that girl would have been completely traumatized and not want to be around a single human being after
Exactly.
seeing the guy in the beginning literally go and just rip his neck? I don't know. I dislike more than I like, but I don't know.
If I could say, or go ahead.
I was gonna say, when it comes to the big three, I don't include Texas Chainsaw, although that's probably disrespectful. I just don't. I'd have to rethink it. But when it comes to the big three, I go Nightmare, then Rob Zombie's Halloween, then I put Friday the 13th at the top. That's my favorite remake out of those three. I don't know where I would put Texas Chainsaw. I'd have to. We did a podcast episode on it, but I ended up not really watching it at all and mentioned it one time, so I didn't count that. But Friday's still my favorite remake out of those movies. Which I feel like I'm in the minority. I feel like more people like Nightmare than Friday.
I don't like Friday really at all, but I prefer that over the Nightmare remake. And if I was including the Chainsaw, I know we're not talking Chainsaw, but I think personally the 2003 Chainsaw film eats the other remakes.
Yeah, a lot
except for Dawn of the Dead, obviously. Dawn of the Dead is insane. But
what were you going to say, Brandon?
If I could say one positive thing about the remake, and I can only really say one thing besides the score. There's a shot in that movie that's still kind of vividly burned into my brain. I forgot what scene it is, but she's walking through, I think it's the school scene, and she comes into the room and Freddy's just kind of has his back turned to her and he's writing on the chalkboard with his glove. And it's like a really weird jerky motion with his arm and stuff. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
That was a very cool sort of like ambiance driven, intense, little tiny shot, a really small thing, but I wanted more of that kind of stuff. That really weird, dreadful atmosphere, Freddy. I thought they were going to do that, and they just didn't do anything like that. So,
I don't know, man. I'm lightening up on it. I'm lightening up on it. And it's just like after 13 years, it's just like
yeah,
it just is what it is. But the chat has spoken. It seems like there are fans in here, and God bless you. But it seems like most people aren't too big on the Elm Street remake, so it's gonna be interesting to see what the fan favorite is, like in the star ratings, because it'll be fun to see that. But Ben Grimm says Jay from RLM was an extra on Jay from Red Letter Media was an extra on the remake and said Haley told him he hates the original movies. Lost my respect for him in the remake further. I think Ben actually commented this on something else I was talking about. I think he said that Jackie Earle Haley was talking to people on the set saying, "Oh, I think the original movies really aren't that good." But then on press tours was like, "Oh yeah, like those are classics." So, which I'm not going to hold that against Jackie myself. You know what? God knows if you go on my YouTube channel, I have ping ponged my opinion on stuff so many times. You probably look at me like I've got three eyes. Yeah, but I can understand people being annoyed by that. But me personally, I'm not going to hold that against him.
Because technically, you don't have to like the movie to play in a role in the remake.
Jamie Lee Curtis,
paid actor, exactly. Greatest example right there.
So, thank you so much, Ben Grimm, for the $4.99. Let me give you a little something. How about this? Let me give you a quick one.
For me, I want hockey pucks. It's got to be. I want my burgers on the grill. I found this.
Here we go.
Hell yeah, man. Congratulations, dude. That's amazing. Hell
yeah. We got 100. We got 152 people in here. If you're just joining us, we're doing the Elm Street films for Freddy Krueger Day, and we're going backwards. Yes, that was Post Malone. Brandon, what comes next after the remake? Are we going to Freddy versus Jason?
I think we have to. I think we're demanded by the people to go there.
You can agree, though, that it's both a Friday and a Nightmare film.
It is, but to me, I think it's definitely way more of a Nightmare film. Would you agree with that? Like, it feels like a Freddy movie with Jason in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a Nightmare film. I mean, so.
So chat in the chat. Why don't we get y'all started, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll let Brandon go. Excuse me. 5 stars out of 5. What do you rate Freddy versus Jason? I'm sure you've all seen this movie 1,000 times. Nostalgia can play a factor. I don't see how it can't, everybody. Because
Plays
this
a
is
factor in everything.
it's sure.
Yeah.
So guys, out of 5 stars, let me hear you for Freddy versus Jason from 2003. Brandon, why don't you take us away? Because I think you like this. I think you got to be a big fan of this movie.
I'm a huge fan of Freddy versus Jason. I got a lot of problems with the story from time to time. I think a lot of the acting is sometimes questionable, but it's one of those movies that, despite all the faults, and I have a lot of faults with that movie, I can't help but love every minute of it, and I wouldn't really want to change anything about it. I think Laurie's an awesome final girl. I think Robert Englund's in top form. Ken Kersinger did not quite a journeyman's job in the role, but a passable job in the role.
Why did I know you were going to say journeyman's? Something told me I knew you were going to say the journeyman's.
He was almost journeyman, but I would say passable. Obviously, I think we can all, till the end of time, we're going to say that Kane Hodder should have been Jason. He should have been. Whether, the producers be damned, he should have been Jason. That should have been his fight. But it doesn't matter now because we have the movie we have, and it's 20 years old at this point. I still can't believe we even have the fucking movie, because I remember the late 90s, the speculation on it happening. Like it was so many years away, and then it finally happened, and suddenly we had it. But I'm rambling, but I think the story was coherent enough. The fight scenes were as cartoonishly outlandish as I hoped they would be. The soundtrack kicked fucking ass. The original score from that movie is one of the best original scores in both franchises. I think some of the cues in that movie are fantastic, especially like the one where Laurie looks into the lake and she sees Jason looking up at her, and then he sinks to the bottom. There's a cue there of music that's just fantastic. I don't know. It's just a fun. You can't not have fun with that movie. It's impossible. That's about all the disjointed thoughts I have right now about the film, but it's just it's too fun.
Ratings are pretty high, Brandon.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think
that's the average. 3.5, probably like a 3.75 is probably like the median number we're looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 stars.
Also, people sleep on the cinematography in that film, but it's delicious. That cinematography is on point. And that the set design, the cinematography, special effects are kind of wonky, but the set design and cinematography are on a whole nother level in Freddy vs. Jason. That movie feels like a huge, really expensive music video, and I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I would concur with a lot of what you say. I did a re-review on this movie maybe a month ago, and I had so much fun with it. I really did. It was so hard. I feel like at this point you have to want to dislike it.
Yeah,
like you really do. People. I know people. I know the audience. We have a smart audience. I know they because I've seen a lot of people say this. A lot of people say it's a miracle it happened. It really is.
It is.
Amen. The thing that really opened my eyes, Brandon, reading this book called Slash of the Titans by Dustin McNeil. Shout out Dustin McNeil. He sent me some of his books, man. He's a really nice guy. I learned that there were a lot of scripts over the years. And people talk about how easy it is, how simple it should have been, or how easy it was. We literally could have gotten some of the worst movies you'd ever heard of if Bob Shea would have just been like, I don't care, do it. To say that they, I'd see people say they didn't care, and I'd have to call BS on that, because they would hire so many script writers to do scripts, and they'd have to buy them before they'd have to buy these scripts. Yeah. And they buy them, and then to decide not to do it because they just knew it wasn't right. They cared. Bob Shea cared. Sean Cunningham cared a lot. They fought a lot. And the script we got, is it perfect? I don't know. Tell me what the perfect script would be. I'm listening.
Exactly.
Somebody wants to give it to me.
It's such a hard concept to do without just making it one big fight scene. So the fact that we actually got a pretty thick story in that movie, like there's a lot of good storyline in that movie.
I
that
think what
expands on
people
both
really,
fronts.
I think what it is, people, and I don't want to speak for everybody in here, but I think there is a section that may not be able to articulate what they wanted from this movie, but what I really think what they wanted is this movie to come out in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Because I think when they think about it, that's what they're visualizing. I think
That would've been sweet.
I think they're visualizing Dream Master versus New Blood. I feel
Ex-
like that's what comes to
exactly.
people's minds.
Yes, it is for real.
And
that gritty era.
I think that's what they're thinking.
That would have been
And
fucking amazing.
I know that I think that. As a matter of fact, that was the first nuggets of people talking about it. And Sydney has a shirt of a 1988. It says 88 on it, and it's got a picture of Dream Master Freddy and a New Blood Jason, and they're like about to battle. It was done years ago.
Yeah.
And as far as Kane, I'll say it again. I talked about this in my review. I've talked to Brandon about this. Brandon agreed with me. Us as the audience, we love Kane. The producers, the people on set would not have loved Kane.
Yeah.
I don't think this has to do with his size as much as this has to do with this is a bigger budget film, a very big budget film for a horror film, much less a slasher film. They don't have time to deal with Kane. And I'm speaking from the perspective of the producers, not how I feel. They don't have time to deal with Kane saying, Jason wouldn't do this. Jason wouldn't react this way. I'm not disrespecting Ken Kersinger. They needed a yes man.
Exactly.
They don't have, because
exactly.
Robert Englund's bulletproof.
Yep.
You can put a script on paper for Robert Englund, but it's mostly a strategy guide or just a guide for him, if you will. He's going to come up with the lines. He's going to say it the way he feels fit. You can't tell, and nobody can tell Robert what to say and how to say it. Nobody would, but they needed somebody to hit their marks for Jason. It's that simple, guys. And Ronnie Yu has nothing to do with it. I'd be willing to bet my life on it.
Yeah. I mean, they were also hiring a bunch of Canadian crew and cast members, and Ken Kersinger is a Canadian stuntman. So there was already that ease of access right there. But on the note of Jason's casting, and I know this is a Paramount era thing, so it sort of doesn't really cross over to New Line.
This is it right here. Go ahead, Brandon.
Since they wanted a yes man. Yeah, they're exactly. Agreed with Justin Smith. Since they wanted a yes man, do you think it's weird that they didn't ask CJ Graham? Because that guy's got the build, the height. He was in part 6, and he was a yes man. And that's not impolite to CJ Graham. He's my iconic Jason. But it's weird that they didn't reach out to him first before Ken Kersinger. To me.
Well, it had been nearly 20 years since he did anything. I don't think he ever acted again, right?
I'm not sure, but that would have been fucking sweet. I would have been okay completely with that. You know? That would have been fine. That would have been epic. Because you met him in person, right? You said he's massive.
Well,
right?
he's one of the only Jasons that could legitimately beat the shit out of you. I mean, no. Like, Kane still looks good. Kane got really sick last year, year before last. And he's getting back in shape, but he's in his 60s, so he can't really put on mass unless he's juicing. Although he still looks good. Don't get me wrong.
He does.
CJ legitimately, when you shakes your hand, I mean, he's a man's man. Yeah. And he was really kind, and I loved him. My favorite Jason I met, though, was Ted White. I felt like I was standing next to a legend when I met him.
Was he big?
Yes.
Yeah.
I met him. I'm so glad I went to that Frightmare, and I just, I met him and Steve Dash right before Steve Dash passed away. I met him. He was fine.
Awesome.
He was fine. I said, "Where's Warrington, Steve?" He goes, "That motherfucker ain't showing up. I'll beat his ass." I'll never forget it. And we laughed. And but no,
What about Dash? Was he a big guy, or was he just like a normal sized dude? Steve Dash.
No, normal size. I was as tall as him. Swear to God. He might have been an inch. He might have been 6'1". I'm 5'11" and a half. I'm just right. If I stand up straight and wear Nike Shocks, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah.
So he might have been
surprised about Kane because of the same reason. He was not my size, but I thought he was going to be way bigger than what he was. You know what I mean? When I met Kane Hodder.
He wears platform tennis shoes.
Kane Hodder?
Watch his feet.
I mean, that's fine. It's just
tennis shoes.
new blood makes him look massive. You know what I mean? So does Jason Takes Manhattan. It's just bizarre that he wasn't
good camera work.
Yeah.
But anyway,
let's Kane Hodder.
Let's see what people are saying about. We got a super chat too, but let me check the chat. We got an early 2000s emo movie. I don't know, Bobby. I mean, I feel like it was a new metal movie, not emo.
It was like that last breath of new metal.
Brandon, we got to ask the chat this too before we move on. I think most people are into it. You know, CJ was running a casino. He was a manager at a casino. Akeem coming in with some heat. He says Kane Hodder played Jason Voorhees in the worst Friday the 13th movies, and yet he was the best Jason. I can't tell if Akeem's saying that sarcastically or if he just means I think his movies were like the lowest rated, but I still love him. Tell me what you mean by that, Akeem, because I can read that a couple ways. You know, TGB gave us a 666 super chat. El Nino Nuff said, I agree. The soundtrack is
song on that album.
How can I live without
great way to open up that
album. Oh man. So Brandon,
soundtrack, dude.
So people are talking about this. Who won?
It's weird. It's a weird debate because for me, and I'm gonna rant about this until I'm old and folded completely. It's just
we can end the show now then.
When you bring Freddy out, exactly. When you bring Freddy out into the real world, right? The rules say that he's no longer supernaturally powerful. Shouldn't be. You know what I mean? At that point. But in Freddy versus Jason, he's surviving all of these flesh wounds from Jason at that point. Stuff he shouldn't be surviving from. And then his decapitated head winks at the camera. Now that's a nod to the audience. It's a way of appeasing the fans, so not one side wins. You know, you have to be has to be a mutual loss, mutual win, right, between both parties. Otherwise, you're going to alienate a certain group of fans. But if Freddy's in the real world, he loses no matter what, because you can't beat Jason at that point. Freddy wins in Dreamland, not in the real world. So the other argument is Jason's still dreaming, and Freddy won that way. I think Jason won because I think it was the real world. But the winking kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's sort of a back and there's no way to really say what for sure is.
Well, here's the thing.
Because they break their rules either way.
You can't kill Freddy. And if you kill him, he just goes back to, he's not real.
You can't. And here's my fucking question I want to know. Because maybe somebody knows this already. Maybe I'm just being stupid. Freddy versus Jason happens in continuity with Freddy's Dead, right? It happens after Freddy's Dead in canon with that movie. At the end of Freddy's Dead, and I think the ending of Freddy's Dead is fucking stupid. It was no more final of the death than anything else.
We're getting
there. No more final of the death than anything else.
Simmer down.
Right? But the dream demons leave Freddy at the end of that film, presumably, where they hadn't before. So how is Freddy suddenly able to do anything supernatural from hell if he no longer has the power of the dream demons from Freddy's Dead?
Well, it's not continuity then.
That's what I want to know.
It's not in continuity. And Iron Wolf calls and says you can't kill Jason either. You can't because he's technically a zombie. Now, if they would have done a Friday the 13th first Nightmare on Elm Street movie where it was like a pre Jason Lives Jason, Freddy probably would have won. But you can't kill that Jason. Unless you literally obliterate it. But then again, is Jason Goes to Hell not in continuity with this, Brandon?
That's another bizarre question because where's the body jumping? Why is he buried at Crystal Lake all of a sudden? What's going on here?
You know what the answer is? The answer is shut the fuck up. Like that's like what the filmmakers would say to us if they're just like shut the fuck up.
That's why it's more of a Freddy movie too, man, because they painstakingly woven the canon of Freddy into Freddy versus Jason. Even in that awesome intro, that whole montage is excellent. But we don't really see anything from Jason. And Jason's just buried out in the woods of Crystal Lake. So it's not really. The producers always say it's a sequel to both franchises, but it's not really picking up in any specific date of Jason's timeline. He's just buried in the woods somewhere. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not really, it's way more of a Freddy Krueger movie to me, which is fine. But
I actually agree with CR on this a little bit. I think that people underestimate how much Freddy kicked Jason's ass at the end before he was decapitated. At least that's how I saw it. I mean, I feel like Freddy was much more of an offensive fighter than Jason. I felt Jason was a little bit more defensive. I feel like Freddy was, even in the real world, man, he was going to get his ass kicked, but you're going to have to kick his ass. You know.
Yeah.
But Brandon, if we would got a little bit more of Demon Freddy,
Mhm.
it would have been a different game.
Maybe they should have like woven a plot point where like he can come into the real world now and still have powers. That would have been a good plot point to throw in there just so they have an excuse.
Possession.
Something like that. But yeah, Demon Freddy is off the chain. I wish we'd have seen way more of that design.
It's so good.
So damn good.
So Brandon, it looks like most people would say. I look back. It looked like most people say Jason technically won since he's the one that got out. But we do have some people like Dice saying I say Freddy won. But we got a lot of Jason won. Wink was just for fun. Jason won.
Yeah.
Kevin says we won.
Yeah, we did win because we got the movie. I agree with that.
Won. Monica Kino won.
Do people forget what a hit that movie was? I can't speak to how much money it made, but like, I remember that movie was everybody's talking point for a good month or two after that movie came out.
It made a
was
few
such
bucks.
a huge thing. Yeah.
It made $1 or $2.
Also, one more thing about it. I still, 2003 was 20 years ago now, but even in 2003, we didn't acknowledge this. The fact that Robert Englund still came back as Freddy
in his 50s
was so good. I can't believe that even happened then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was still 9 years after New Nightmare. So
crazy.
It's fucking insane, dude. He is so damn good in that movie.
Nightmare Films is a $2 super chat. I will forever miss the mustache. Stay great.
It'll be back eventually. It will.
Why don't you do the Amish look?
I could do that.
Completely clean mustache with a thick blanket beard.
I had that back in 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
I could bring it back. Give me 3 months.
Speaking of 3 months,
the best part of eating corn on the cob is when like shit sprays out of it and you hit somebody in the eye with the water. And Thanksgiving's coming. Oh yeah.
Brandon, we're moving on.
All right. To the dreaded Freddy's Dead.
New Nightmare.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's sick.
No, I said Freddy's dead, so I'm hacking up a lung,
We're moving on to New Nightmare, everybody. Like I said,
dusty.
we're going back. We got 166 people in here, guys. Drop a like if you don't mind. We got a packed house tonight, Brandon.
Excellent.
It's packed. I wonder if we can get to 200 tonight.
That'd be sweet.
You think we'll get to 200 people tonight?
Maybe if we get to 200, I'm taking my shirt off and stroking my nipples. That's the incentive right there.
Hey, no, for real. If we get to 200, will you take your shirt off? You ain't got to stroke your nipples.
Off.
Guys, please get us to 200 people. We have to get 200 people in here. Pull this up on different TV screens. Please.
Oh, that doesn't count, though. That doesn't count.
All you got to worry about is the number 200.
I love it.
All right. We're moving on to Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Guys, the same. Out of 5 stars, drop it down below. Out of 5 stars, New Nightmare. Brandon, take us away on Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
New Nightmare is the most underrated film in the franchise. I think it's the best version of Freddy Krueger in the entire franchise, even though it's not really Freddy Krueger as we knew him and loved him. Still the best version. Not the scariest. The scariest belongs to part 2, but we'll get down there later. I think all the actors did a fantastic fucking job playing themselves.
Decent enough acting.
Decent enough acting playing fictitious versions of themselves. Seeing Wes Craven acting is fucking hilarious in the best way. Bob Shea acting serious is the fucking most hilarious thing in the planet, but so commendably awesome. I don't know, but that movie just has a looming dread and a presence to it that I can't even really explain. But it's like, I don't know. It's just such a different film, and the atmosphere is fantastic. The score in that movie is great. The pacing's fantastic. The seriousness of the deaths and like fantastic. Just such a brutal version of Freddy. And I think they really focus on the loss of death in a more serious way in that movie. I think it's sort of what turned people off. Like the morgue scene with the dad and her puking and stuff, like that's pretty heavy stuff. You know what I mean? So Dylan was good.
Any negatives?
Negatives?
All
Not
right, well,
really.
I'm asking, you know.
I kind of wish we had seen more of real world Freddy. But other than that, not really. Oh, here's my one negative about it. Actually, it's not a negative. It's just something I wish they would have done. And I think Robert Englund spoke about this in one of the bonus features. You know how Robert Englund is like painting pictures of Freddy because he knows something's coming? I think they said something like there was a script thing or something originally about this idea where Robert Englund was going to disappear and it was going to be like he became Freddy in the real world. I think that would have been a really cool plot device if Robert Englund himself became Freddy again, but he became real world Demon Freddy. That would have been a really cool plot point. I don't know how you would have incorporated that, but like have him slowly becoming the real world Demon Freddy. That would have been really fucking cool. Or at least have him get murked by real Freddy. Show us something like that. Because his last scene is just him painting a painting and hanging up the phone. Like we need something there, you know?
Is there a chance that he did become Freddy?
That's what I'm thinking. That would be cool. That would be really cool.
How would we know?
I don't know. I mean, the glove was stolen off set, right? So I don't know. But I can't say enough good things about that movie. I think it's really underrated, especially with the fans of the franchise. I'm not really sure what it is. I don't know if it's too slow for people or maybe it's too real or too serious. But I feel like New Nightmare is not really at the top of the radar for most Nightmare fans. Am I right? Is that fair enough to say?
I don't know. The chat here seems to like it. We got a lot of 4 and 5 stars.
Yeah, for me, it's a 5 out of 5. For me, I know a lot of people are iffy on it, but
I'm gonna go 4 stars on New Nightmare. Some of my favorite when I rewatched it earlier this year or late last year, might have been earlier this year. Probably was earlier this year. Visually, some of my favorite stuff is in this movie. One of my favorite shots is when there's this funeral scene. And it's a dream sequence, I believe, but Dylan falls down where they're lowering the casket. And when Heather looks down, you see Demon Freddy grabbing him and pulling him deeper in.
Yeah.
It's so haunting.
That's a killer fucking shot. Yeah.
It's so unnerving. So that really creeped me out. I think Freddy looks strong in this movie.
England looks jacked in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
He's got to be wearing pads or something, right? Because like when he's in Freddy getup, he looks like a fucking like linebacker, dude.
Yeah, he's sturdy.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
My only complaint with New Nightmare, and the reason I give it 4 out of 5 stars, is I think the pacing of the first quarter of the film is a little slow. That's my only complaint when I watched it last. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when you see Robert dress up as Freddy in the talk show.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that. I love that.
It's such a good wink to the actual franchise.
Once the kid jumps off of the monkey bars and said he wanted God to take him, the movie is good to go after that. But I just feel it can be a little slow in the beginning. I also lament the fact that Freddy did not stab the guy's dick when he was driving instead of his gut. I mean, because he was right there, and you figure Freddy would be sinister in that way.
Yeah, you would think so.
So,
because if that had been classic Freddy, he would have stabbed him right in the dick. That would have happened. So
you know, but I give it 4 stars. I think the finality of seeing that that scene where it's like this hell world with like all these the waterfalls and
it's like a Greek ruin or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was
insane.
Sensational.
Fantastic set pieces. Do you think because when I was a kid, I've loved the film since I was a kid. I didn't see it in theaters, unfortunately. I only saw it on VHS. Loved it since the first time I saw it. But I remember a lot of my friends didn't like the movie for a long time. Do you remember that? Because I feel like there was a much bigger sentiment of people not liking it. That like people are coming around to it now, but I feel like
well, I think
that's because the movie wasn't fun like the other movies were.
I give so much credit to Italian cinema making me understand that just because a movie doesn't have something happening every 5 seconds doesn't mean it's not interesting. To allow yourself to get lost in the atmosphere of a movie.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that falls in line necessarily with New Nightmare, but it certainly helped.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think as you get older, it's so hard not to watch these movies and just get warm, fuzzy feelings remembering all those memories. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
it's damn near impossible for unless you have zero memories of these films as a kid. Even me, even though I never watched all these when I was little, God knows I saw them on the VHS shelves all the time. I was Freddy for Halloween before I even saw the movies. It's literally impossible to watch these films and just be completely, totally objective.
Absolutely.
You can't do it. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
Now, people are saying in the chat, New Nightmare is the catalyst for Scream. I think
Technically, Jason Lives is the catalyst. Kevin Williamson's admitted that several times.
Yeah.
Technically.
You know.
But yeah.
Anyway, what you want to move on, Brandon? We're going to Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. Guys, of course, go in your star ratings now. Drop your 5 out of 5 stars. Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare. And I'd like to actually start this one, Brandon. That way I can have a chance of surviving your gauntlet hate train for Freddy's Dead. Let me tell you why I like Freddy's Dead, Brandon. I have so much. Have you ever seen Twin Peaks?
Fire Walk with Me or the show itself?
The show.
I've seen both, but I've seen the movie up 10 times.
Okay.
Walk with Me.
So you're familiar with that quirky, weird, bizarre stuff that David Lynch is into?
Oh yeah.
Do you agree that certain scenes in that movie clearly are inspired from David Lynch's quirky Twin Peaks world he has?
Absolutely.
Specifically.
Oh yeah.
Specifically the carnival scene.
I was going to say the carnival scene, like especially like the shots of them on the bumper cars and stuff.
It's
stuff like
quirky.
that's really, it's bizarre. It's out of place. There's something off about it. I know the director. What is her name? I just made a review.
Rachel Talalay. I love her, by the way. She was there since day one.
Yeah, she was. I think she was admittedly inspired by Lynch. I think I even put that in my review.
Yeah, she talked about it. She says
It's
it was
cool.
it was the biggest thing in the world at the time.
Yeah, I can see that inspiration for sure.
So here's the thing I'll say about Freddy's Dead. It's not something I ever think people would change their minds on, because people are smart. They'll watch the movie and they'll make up their minds. I don't think you change people's minds. Here's what I'll say about Freddy's Dead for me. I think Freddy's Dead is awesome because it doesn't tiptoe trying to be anything other than what it is. And it goes for it 1,000%. Where you look at the remake and you say, damn it, they hinted at him not being him being innocent. And then they pulled the wool over you. Freddy's Dead goes 1,000 miles an hour being a Looney Tunes, Twin Peaks, bizarro, whacked out movie. 1,000%. It doesn't hold back. I have a lot of respect for that. I like Rachel a lot. I actually like the kids, especially Carlos. That's me in that movie. I feel like I'd be Carlos. Brecken really pisses me off because the front of his hair isn't long enough to go into a ponytail, but the back he can make one. So just figure it out, dude. Either just cut your hair or just like pull the goddamn ponytail out. Really annoys me. I think that Freddy's Dead is unabashed, and I have a lot of respect for that. And if people haven't seen Twin Peaks, it may not change their mind, but at least they'd understand. Because if they have if they have not seen Twin Peaks and saw what that show is, how it can literally have the most depressing, dark moment ever, and then 30 seconds later, Laura Palmer's dad is dancing in the cabin to like a funny song. It's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not saying it would change your mind, but it could give you a better idea of the inspiration of what was going on in the early 90s. And Freddy's Dead soundtrack is one of the greatest soundtracks in movie history.
Yeah.
So that's my take on Freddy's Dead.
I find it to be really a dull movie in the franchise. I'm not sure what I wanted out of it.
Man, fuck
It's
you.
just I'm really
I'm
bored
kidding.
watching that movie. I'm really bored watching it. I can't. I'll watch it any day, anytime over the remake for sure. But there's just something just feels missing in Freddy's Dead to me, and I can't figure out what that is. I've never been able to figure it out, but to me, it's dull, and I kind of wish they had gone bigger and more psychedelic after Dream Child. I kind of wish it had still been part of that direct storyline with Alice, the remaining survivors from that film. Maybe bring Jesse back. I think that would have been more in line with my
Well, Mark Patton
desires
had
for
a
the
lot of
Freddy's Dead.
Mark Patton had a lot of crazy shit going on in his life at that point. I didn't realize
sure he
all this
did.
shit. His documentary, I didn't realize he was dating this TV actor guy that ended up getting AIDS and he died, and he had a lot of crazy shit going on in his life. I didn't have any idea about any of that until he did that documentary. I really liked it though.
Scream Queen, right?
Scream Queen, yeah.
I've yet to see that yet, but I've heard it's awesome. I need to buy that.
It.
I haven't bought it yet.
And then he did it. The soundtrack was made for the documentary is really good. It's like an 80s soundtrack, so I got the soundtrack for Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. It's it's cool. I love Mark.
Yeah, underrated for sure. When I ranked the final girls of the franchise this morning, he was like in the top tier as one of the final girls. He's a great fucking character.
Yeah,
yes,
of
he's
course.
fucking hilarious.
It seems like a lot of people don't like Freddy's Dead. So Brandon, I'm seeing 2.5 stars. I'm seeing 1.5, 3.5, 0 stars, 3.5, 0, 1, couple 3s, 2s, 3. I don't know, Brandon. I'd say the average is probably 2 out of 5.
It's one of those weird entries like Jason Goes to Hell where like there's people who love it and then there's people who fucking hate it. You know what I mean? Adamantly. There's not really it's okay crowd. Like either hate Freddy's Dead or you fucking love it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I
It's
love
weird.
those kinds of movies. I fucking
Bizarre.
love movies where you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And if I hate it, I hate it. Like that's as much shit as I give the Babadook, people love it. And I want to burn every copy of that movie on DVD. I want to buy I want people to send me their Babadooks so I can burn it. Like literally.
Yep.
So that's how I am. So let's move on, Brandon. Next up is 1989's A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child.
Yep. Excellent. Look at that.
Guys, per usual, I got a lot to say about this one.
Yeah.
So drop your star rating for Dream Child down below out of 5. Brandon, take us away for 19. Let me get it out. 1989's Gothic classic.
Yes.
Stephen Hopkins directed Baby Freddy Dream Child film.
Really the end of an era, man. It's the end of that sub-trilogy within the franchise, the Dream Warriors sub-trilogy, that through line that concludes with the Dream Child.
Right.
I mean, what is there to say? Alice is a fucking fantastic final girl, great character. The whole cast is excellent. Like with Dream Master, the whole fucking cast is just fantastic. The special effects are on point. As cheesy as they are, they're absolutely delicious. The set design is fantastic. I love Freddy. Like, I don't love, but his makeup is starting to get that extra cheese pizza look. But I love that like old man jowl thing he's got going on. He's got like the deep socket, the black paint under his eyes and stuff, like a emo singer. It's just great stuff, man. Everything about that movie is fucking fantastic. You got Baby Freddy in there. Yep. The kid annoys the shit out of me. That's the only drawback for me. The kid from Jurassic Park. He annoys the shit out of me. But Dream Child, I think, is one of those sleazy, gritty, dirty nightmare films that you feel like you need to take a shower after you watch it. But it's so damn enjoyable. It's so much fun. It doesn't drag. Some of the best death scenes in the series, like the fucking motorcycle Dan death. The comic book with Super, like, come on, dude. Super Freddy's in that movie.
I love it.
I mean, we've talked about this at length before, but like the Dream Child is so underrated and it pisses so many people off. I feel like it's always been the black sheep of the series more so than Freddy's Dead. I don't know why.
Let me say this, Brandon, and I say this as a big fan of Halloween 5. and
Yeah.
a big fan of Jason Takes Manhattan.
Agreed.
Pound for pound, Dream Child is the best out of those three.
Disagree.
Fuck you. Dream Child has, dude, in terms of getting, all three of those movies are rushed. There's no doubt about it.
Mm.
Dream Child has visually the best shit possible out of those three.
I'll give you that. Dream Child feels the least rushed on
They're
screen.
they're all great. You know, Halloween 5 is a fucking giallo.
It is.
It's a quirky fucking giallo. Jason Takes Manhattan is an accidental masterpiece. But dude, Dream Child is nowhere near as bad as the shit I hear. They haven't. This is shit. This is people that have watched it one time. I see this shit all the time. Tell me
Yes.
what's bad about it. The characters aren't memorable. What do you mean the characters aren't memorable? Every fucking person, Greta, Mark, every
Great.
person in that film is memorable.
Fantastic. All three of
For
those
a-
films you just mentioned are unappreciated masterpieces, but I will say that again, Dream Child does not. You don't feel the rushed script or production on screen. It feels like a complete package. It feels like it told the story it was supposed to tell. And I don't understand what people don't like about the film, besides a bunch of people just saying they don't like it because everybody else says they don't like it. Does that make sense to you? Like, I don't understand it's not a,
It's
not a
interesting
boring
because
film.
it's not boring at all. I don't know.
I don't get it. Maybe it's just
Uh,
the baby Freddy stuff and the kid turns people off. I don't know.
If people don't like Baby Freddy, I mean, go fuck yourself.
He sort of
I
has a
love-
Popeye
dude,
look when you think about
And
it.
let's talk about this. The scenes in Nightmare 5 where Dan is riding the bike and the bike starts to encapsulate him,
Mhm.
and the fuel lines are going inside of his calf muscles
Yep.
and they're coming out into his hands. Dude, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And it's so painful. It's one of the greatest sequences. If you can see the uncut version, which it's on YouTube, if you watch the
Yeah.
uncut sequence, I dare you to say it's not one of the best visual effects out of the entire series.
It's so good.
You're a
It's
lie.
so damn good.
You're a goddamn lie.
I mean, plus you get Chef Freddy in that movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the most iconic looks for the character. It's short and sweet, but like he's in there.
Dude, it's fucking
know?
great. I love Dream Child. It's every time I watch it, I'm like, fuck, this is better than what I give it credit for.
Yeah. And you have to agree with me that although part 4 has the pizza scene, right? Part 5, you can't not crave an extra cheese pizza based on Freddy's makeup alone. Am I right? Am I lying?
You're right. And not only that, I actually really like the Dream Child makeup because
Yeah.
he looks like an old man.
He does. The black eye sockets too. Like, it's very different makeup than the 4th film. I think it's getting a little too simple by that point. It's not as simple as Freddy's Dead, thank God. But it's way more simplified than part 4, but it's not a bad simple in Dream Child, you know?
Right.
Not at all.
I don't know. I'm going to bat for my movie, man.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
I challenge everybody here to actually go back and rewatch Dream Child. The scene where Greta is in the fridge when Alice opens up the fridge and Greta's popping out. It's haunting as fuck.
And Chef Freddy just comes out of nowhere and pulls her back in like really rapidly.
dude.
It's good stuff. I love it. I feel like
You
if you watch Dream Warriors and Dream Master, you can't not watch Dream Child because it finishes that little story.
This
You know what I mean?
reminds
It
me, you
finishes it
kind of
off.
like, Brandon, if you binge the movies too, which a lot of people will do that, they're like, oh, I'm watching all the Nightmare films. You can't just binge them all and then get to 5. You're going to be burnt out. I don't care how good or bad the movie could possibly be. Just don't even go watch 3 or 4. Go tonight, go tomorrow, and just watch Dream Child. Just watch the Dream Child.
Yeah, in
Now,
isolation,
Brandon-
it's a very bizarre experience
Brandon, listen
in
to
a good
me.
way. I'm listening.
I know
I'm
you love
listening.
Jason Takes Manhattan, as do I. Pound for pound, though, Dream Child's the best out of the 3. I think you agree. I just think you're having trouble getting there.
No. I can't meet you there. I can get close, but I can't meet you there. There's a okay. I'll let you see the okay.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna
I'm just reading a couple of these comments.
I'm gonna put my camera back. I'm gonna have fun with that effect now that I can swap to my phone.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Cruising for a bruising. What was that? I gotta look at the chat, Brand. I have not looked at the chat in like 6 minutes. So
there's hell of activity.
What do we got going on? I'm sure people are pissed off at me. I lost my virginity in the movie theater watching Dream Child. So yeah, you could say I had a good time. Did you make a Dream Child? Josh Elhart says Jason Takes Manhattan. Chalamet, I hear ya. My thing is, I don't see how. No, I'm not going to argue. That's fine. If you don't, I get that. I like Super Freddy though. Super Freddy would beat the piss out of Michael Myers.
I mean, he's a dream guy. The fact that we didn't get Super Freddy in the first film is beyond me. Like, it should be even wackier than Super Freddy. Like, that's not jumping the shark. It's just further exploring dreams. I have dreams of like talking croutons. Super Freddy is not out of the realm of possibility for a fucking nightmare. You know? You are on fucking drugs though. Yeah.
All right, let's move on, Brandon, to objectively, CR agrees with me. Objectively, yes, Dream Child is better, I think. Subjectively, I go with Halloween 5. Dude, that's the thing about those 89 films, dude. They're all fucking bizarro, and I love them.
It's all that cocaine, man. Everybody, even Bob Shea was just fucking snorting pounds of that shit, you know?
I bet he was.
God bless Bob Shea, though. I feel like that guy is underrated. Like, he's the Mustafa Akkad to the original Freddy franchise, you know? Like, Bob Shea.
Yeah.
I think it's shitty as fuck that he got ousted the way he got ousted. I think we just.
What do you mean?
When he got ousted from New Line Cinema, you know, when the merger happened.
Oh, he's fine, dude.
I know he's fine, but it's still like, it's shitty.
He knew what he was doing. Justin Smith says Halloween 5 is pure trash. Myers crying, enough said. I just think it's a little bit of character development, Brandon. What say you?
Halloween 5 is a fucking masterpiece. In the weirdest way.
So is Jason Takes Manhattan an accidental masterpiece?
No, that movie's just a fucking masterpiece. Look,
What?
if that movie.
What?
Listen to me. If that movie wasn't called Jason Takes Manhattan.
What movie?
If that movie wasn't called Jason Takes Manhattan.
There you go.
It
on DVD.
People wouldn't have a problem with it. You know? That's the problem. It says Jason Takes Manhattan. So.
But he does take Manhattan.
He does take Manhattan, but the problem is it's called that. So because he's on a boat for the first, 2 acts of the film, people suddenly have a problem with it. But you can't tell me the look of Jason isn't sweet. I'll get off my Jason Takes Manhattan tangent in a second. The boat scenes are epic. The cast is great. The music, the score is great. Jason looks fucking awesome.
The score is sensational.
The death scenes, I get they're a little bit on the tame side because they don't show very much, but they're still good and effective for what they are. New York City itself feels gritty. The sewer scenes are fantastic. Like, how do you not like that movie? I don't get the hate for that. Like, I don't get the hate for Dream Child, but I don't get the fucking hate for Jason Takes Manhattan at all.
These are sad people that don't have happiness in their life. Happy people love Jason Takes Manhattan.
They don't have happiness. They don't have 80s cocaine. They don't have all kinds of stuff. Don't do drugs, people. Just advocating that directly.
I tell you what, you got a cameo visit.
Look at that. Look how derpy remake Jason looks right there in this angle. That's a little bit better. Yeah, show that Jason Goes to Hell one. I'm telling you, man, there's something weird about the hockey mask in the remake that I don't like.
Oh, we gotta get back on track.
We got to get back on track.
Dream. I like the remake Mask. I think you're on drugs.
It's just it's there's something weird about it. It's like a planter's peanut shape or something. I don't know what it is, but it's just bizarre. Anyways,
All right, Brent. 1988's Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Can I start, Brandon?
you can.
I don't know if Nick's here, if he's watching. Nick, if you're watching, comment. He might have commented earlier. I think I was looking at the comments earlier, and I needed to look at them. Chris Snyder, $2 super chat. Favorite Bob Shea cameo in the franchise? Definitely the bartender in Freddy's Revenge. Brandon, you agree?
It's just too fucking funny. Yeah.
I think Nick agrees with me on this, and me and him talked about this. I'm finally going to say it for the first time on this show, Brandon. I'm changing.
Don't you do it.
Dream Master is, in fact, better than Dream Warriors at this point. I'm just going to say it. Dream Master is better than Dream Warriors in about every conceivable way.
You want me to answer that?
It's not a question, goddammit.
I think Dream Warriors is a better movie, but I think Dream Master is more fun.
You damn
of a
right.
movie.
I'd agree with that. Okay, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
People are saying 4, 4.5, 5.
No,
6
Dream
out of
Master's a 5. It's a 5 out of 5.
It really is though, right?
It's a 5. New Nightmare is a 5. Part 4 is a 5. Like part 5 is a 4 for me, but part 4 is a 5. Yeah, this confused the shit out of myself. Yeah.
It's got a great, again, incredible soundtrack, top to bottom.
Both the score and the contemporary soundtrack.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Dream Master is like the absolute pinnacle of Freddy Mania.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. And people will complain and be like, "Why does a dog resurrect him?" Because that's Freddy doing it himself.
I want to speak to you about that.
That's
if I can
Freddy.
interject here, Christian.
I will. I'm just gonna say, listen, for the people saying that's silly, well, that's Freddy resurrecting himself. Do you really think a dog needed to do that in the dream world?
Exactly.
That's him. That's Freddy fucking around to amuse himself.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He's not being resurrected.
Exactly.
Come on, guys.
Exactly. Yep. I don't have to say it now. You're right. That's correct. That's what that pisses me off. They're like, you got resurrected by a stupid dog. I'm like, no, he didn't. That's just, he's coming back then no matter what. He's just,
It's his own sense of humor.
Exactly. The dog didn't make him come back to life. He was coming back no matter what the fuck they did. Right. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have to say it now.
I think the makeup for part 4 is second best to me. Yeah. I know you like New Nightmare, but to me it's incredible. I love Tuesday Night. I'm actually going to stick up for her.
She's great. Kristen's better.
She brings more to the table.
Yeah.
As a musician, she not only brought, she was perfect for that movie. I thought, was the connection with her and the other two as good as Patricia? I don't know. Maybe, like, what connection did they really have in 3? I guess you could say they have one, but I mean, they were just getting to know each other as well. The ensemble was good. You gotta consider that. The ensemble in 3 was great. I loved all the kids in 3. I love 3. I'm not gonna shit on 3 at all. But what I'm saying is, I think Tuesday's great because she offers more as a musician, and she brought a great song. I have her record, Tuesday Night's record. That song isn't on the record, but it's a great record. So I'm actually going to go to bat for Tuesday. There's a lot of people who don't like her, huh? Well, I mean, it's weird. Patricia's a legend. I mean, she's a great actress. And also Billy Idol has a song in 4. So, so there you go, Brandon. I mean, I've said my piece. I don't know how anybody cannot be absolutely in love with Dream Master as a horror fan. Yeah, I think it's everything you could possibly want. It's one of the most quintessential Freddy movies. I think part 3 is the most quintessential, but I think part 4 is right up there with it. And it's more fun than 3. You can't not have a good time with part 4. It starts fast and it keeps going. The death scenes are awesome. The acting's pretty damn good. We're introduced to Alice in that movie.
Freddy is absolutely on point. He's having a fucking. Robert Englund had to have had a blast on that movie. I know he was kind of not having fun at first, according to that Never Sleep Again documentary, but I'm sure once he got into that movie, like the beach scene and stuff, he had to have been enjoying that.
Oh,
you know
I'm
what I mean?
sure.
Like all that crazy shit. Like the junkyard scene again is just that movie is so damn. It's just drenched in atmosphere in the best way.
I'm sure
The
he was
pizza
having a great
scene.
time.
Yeah, the roach scene, the pizza scene, like all that stuff is so damn iconic. And there's so much in this movie that I think I mentioned this in my review today. I think I mentioned this. There's so much stuff in Dream Master that I feel like is everybody's iconic memory of Freddy. A lot of those memories come from this movie, where they think it comes from Dream Child or Part 2 or Part even 3. But I feel like a lot of people's iconic memories come from this movie, like especially like the shade stuff.
Classic. It's a GIF.
That's the zenith of Freddy Krueger. Like that's the image most people have in their minds is the sunglasses.
That's when all the merchandise was hitting a peak. Like early '89 is where you got the Matchbox talking Freddy, the Max Effects Freddy. It was the world. I did a video on vintage Freddy toys, and I was looking up the production dates of these. 90% of it was basic. 90% of it was during the Dream Master era. You know, and that's the other thing, Brandon. These movies, the first 4 movies, all made more money as they went along. How many franchises do that? Number 1 made this. Number 2 made more. Number 3 made more. And number 4 made even more than 3.
Yeah,
it was mania.
Yeah, insane, dude.
Michael Piatowski, thank you for the $5. Dream Master was my first Elm Street movie I saw. Still my favorite till this day. Freddy's a nut. Let's give him. Let's get it right on.
It's better than all of them combined.
Freddy's a nut. More chuck for the buck.
Excellent.
I gave Child's Play 2 3 stars. Max Thunderdome says Dream Master is a good movie, but come on, man, better than Dream Warriors? No way. Well, I think Brandon summed up exactly how I feel. Chuck Russell is a master, but you know what? So is Rennie Harlan, and like his resume, both of their resumes prove it. Rennie did some incredible stuff with Die Hard. He did Die Hard, right?
Yeah.
He did Die Hard. He did Cliffhanger. He became an incredible action movie director. Chuck Russell went on to do even more amazing stuff with The Blob, and he did one of my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time, The Mask. So we're looking at 2 directors that are legends, you know, hands down legends. But I think Brandon summed it up perfectly for me. As much as I love Dream Warriors, I have even more fun watching Dream Master.
Did Die 2, right? Or did
It's probably Die Hard 2.
I mean, that's a
Brandon, I think you actually froze for once.
that was weird. You kept going away, like disappearing. That was very strange.
I think it was you this time. You're back
Really?
now.
Both of the screens were.
I think it was
trolling on my
you.
end. Yeah, Spectrum's being a pain in the ass here lately. They're installing all kinds of new weird shit. So if we lose me tonight, that's why.
You're back.
The Nutty Loons.
Freddy has possessed Brandon's internet. It was you. Fuck yeah.
Damn, I guess it was me.
All right, Brandon, let's move on. We're at an hour and 24. All right, chat. Tell us why. Dylan, that's a great question. Are there any Nightmare ripoffs you like? I can tell you one right now. I actually grabbed it. The best Nightmare ripoff of all time. Bad Dreams. With actually stars Jennifer Rubin from the Dream Warriors. This is incredible. Check that movie out if you haven't seen it. All right, Brandon, let's get it rolling. Chat. Out of 5 stars, Dream Warriors. Brandon, take us away.
I think Dream Warriors just comes right out of the gate swinging. You know what I mean? It's like the plot is so good, so rich, so deep of a thing. Like they're out of nowhere. They're just suddenly at this kid's. They're at, what is it, Weston Hills Psychiatric Ward for troubled teens. The fact that all these kids are having the same nightmares about Freddy. Like I just love the. They instantly build this big ensemble cast, and like it's just such a fun fucking movie. And like I'm rambling here. I have no direction with what I'm saying, but Freddy's in top form. The pacing's great. The music's great. The special effects are fantastic. Freddy Krueger still had a little bit of the menace from part 2 in him, but he was sort of the seeds of MTV Freddy were sort of starting to be planted here. Not anywhere near as much as part 4, but like we're starting to get a taste of that Freddy.
Yeah.
The iconic welcome to primetime bitch. The death scenes are great. I love when everybody's going to the dream world at the same time. I love that like group focus. It's like almost like a Stand By Me adventure or something in the dream world. I love it. The Return of Nancy was really good. That was really well executed. Dr. Craig Wasson, I think his name is. He's a great fucking character. John Saxon's back. I mean, they fight claymation skeleton Freddy in a junkyard. How can you not love this fucking movie? I just think it's the most I think it's the most well made of the bunch. That's what I think.
Well said. Bram, I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you. I got a question for you that I think you would agree with this. But let me get to this really quick. Anthony O'Donnell with the $10 super chat. Hey guys, you guys are awesome. Nightmare 3 is my favorite. God bless you and thank you so much. And for that, I say.
So it's not good. It's really gross. Oh God.
Thank you so much, Anthony. So Brandon, the chat has spoken. First of all, we're getting 5 stars.
Fucking A.
All around. Sorry guys, I haven't been looking at the chat for a while.
Woo. Look at that, man.
3.
Damn. 6. Fucking A.
All right, Brandon. So yeah, the chat has spoken. This is how I see the Elm Street films. Tell me if you agree. I think with Freddy's Dead being some sort of a bookend, right? Because you could say that New Nightmare is its own thing.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I think that there are 2 volumes of the Elm Street films. I think there's volume 1, which is a darker shade of gray, parts 1, 2, 3. And then you could say that there's volume 2 of Elm Street, and that's 4, 5, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I look at 3, 4, and 5 as a sub trilogy all their own. So I feel like there's almost a 3-part to it. You know?
I'm not looking at it in story aspect, though. I'm looking at it in shades of gray. I think 1, 2, and 3 are obviously closer to black, and I think 4, 5,
I hear what
and
you're
6
saying.
are closer to white.
I would agree with that. Yeah, sure.
So, with that being said, do you think one of the reasons you could say people could look at Dream Warriors as the best, taking away them loving the characters and the incredible special effects, which it has. So does 4. Matter of fact, so does 2 has some really good effects. It also has some silly effects, but there's some incredible stuff. Part 3 is truly the end of volume 1 in the sense that it is the perfect shade of gray, like a really dark shade of gray. And that's like the perfect almost bookend in terms of how they like to look at Freddy evolving in a sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's sort of the last breath of scary Freddy, right?
Yeah. Right.
In that sequence of films.
I think what's interesting is if you've watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3 on TV, on VHS, on DVD, there are a couple songs that play when Patricia hits play on the cassette tape.
Mm.
And I haven't figured out the rhythm of what went to what. There's obviously Dawkins' Into the Fire, but there's another song that plays. I can't remember the name of the song. And then there's this instrumental thing that I've heard play as well.
Yeah.
I've got to figure out the mathematics on that. But that's something that I've noticed. Brand, one time I remember the first time I watched on TV, and they played this movie. When she hit play, I remember just the first time I realized that that's not Dokken, and it was just a different song. I lost my mind, and then I realized like I think there's 3. There's definitely 2, but I think there's 3.
There is, because there's the Dawkins song, there's a different song, and the instrumental version you're talking about, I think it was a TV show theme that they're playing.
It might have been.
Let me look that up real quick, actually.
While you're doing that, let me do this. Thank you, Zombie Menace, for the $5 super chat. You guys are very generous tonight. I really appreciate that. Who's the best in killing kids, Freddy or Pennywise? I like Freddy, but they never show him killing kids, just teenagers, not like his past. I'd clearly say, I mean, look, Pennywise is a son of a bitch. You know what I mean? You know, we're talking Tim Curry, right? Zombie Madness. I mean, I don't know. Probably Pennywise, because he goes after babies, man.
Little kids, he's eating them like right there on the spot. Freddy's like mostly targeting teenagers.
Yeah, he at least lets them enjoy, some Happy Meals for a few years before he
I can't find it. Right, I'm not finding. I had like all this information the other day, but I can't find the information now. Intro song VHS. Let's see. Quiet Cool by Joe Lamont was the alternate song.
Quiet Cool, Joe Lamont, my boy, who did Flesh to Flesh for Return of the Living Dead 2.
Quiet Cool is a good song too.
It is a good song. Joe Lamont's my boy. Good.
But the other one I'm talking about, there's an instrumental version of something. Where the fuck is it on here? I can't find it. But I swear to God, there is an instrumental version that's like a TV show theme. Maybe it's from another movie in the series. I guess, whatever. I'll find it later. And I'll let you know.
All right, Brandon. So we both agree that Dream Warriors is it's one of the best 80s horror films ever made. Mm. I think we can all agree on that. Mm. Well, Brandon, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It is time to move on.
There he is.
To A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. The Devil's Lettuce. Brandon, take it away, dude. Talk to me about A Nightmare on Elm Street. And for the chat, you already know how I feel, so be gentle on the star ratings.
I think Freddy's Revenge, besides New Nightmare, because New Nightmare is sort of on an island by itself, because it's like a meta movie within a movie trope, right? But as far as the Nightmare classic series go, I think Freddy's Revenge is really on an island by itself, because it's nothing like the first movie at all. It's nothing like part 3, 4, 5, 6. We're up close and personal with Christian right now. It's part 2 is so fucking weird. It's such a weird movie because at times it's so serious and so dreadful, but then it's so hilarious, whether intentional or unintentional, I don't know. But it's got a thick atmosphere. The score is fantastic. One of the better scores in the franchise.
It's actually a really creepy, dark score too.
It is.
Like it's really dark.
It's really weird. I love it. And also, Jesse, Mark Patton, is so believable as his character. You actually think all this stuff's happening to him, and you absolutely root for his character in this movie. He's one of the most believable final girls in the franchise, if you want to call him that. And I think obviously Clu Gallagher's fucking hilarious in the movie in the small parts he's in. I think
let that room unpack, young man.
Yeah, dude, like the exploding bird and the dogs and the baby masks and like Robert Englund, the scariest version of Freddy Krueger in the series. He's got the hook witch nose, the really gnarly overburned lasagna look. Look at that shit. That's awesome. Is that a sticker
Jason,
or a magnet?
Yeah. So everybody that buys You Need a Candle orders, we give horror stickers away. And
cool.
if you ordered a candle, we just package everybody up. I'm sorry to cut you off, Brandon. I just thought you'd.
No, you're good. You're good.
If you ordered a candle, there's a chance you could have gotten a Jason Goes Straight to Hell sticker.
That's awesome.
Thoughts on the dogs with the nasty faces.
That's some Silent Hill shit right there. You know, before
It's
Silent
actually
Hill was a
good.
thing. It's so good. If you pause it, it can look kind of derpy, but the split second you see it, it's really what's weird too is back in the day on VHS, when you would see those scenes of the dogs, it looked way scarier because it was so, old VHS scan line. You couldn't get a clear look at the dogs. They looked way freakier back then, but the dogs were bizarre in the best way possible. And also, like, the fucking pool sequence, dude, and just shut me up when you want to talk about it too. But the pool sequence is fucking iconic, dude.
Wes Craven has infamously talked against that scene, and as much as I love and respect Wes Craven as an icon in the genre, I've never disagreed with him more in my life.
I get that it's breaking the rules technically to have him powers in the real world, but the way I justify it is because he used Jesse as a conduit to the real world that allowed him to keep his powers in the real world. It's not like he got dragged out into the real world like Laurie does in Freddy vs. Jason or Nancy did in the first movie, right? He used him as a conduit to break out into the real world as the entity Freddy Krueger. That's why he was able to maintain supernatural abilities. That's the only way I can justify it.
You won't like so Brandon, I've talked about this movie a lot. People know it's my favorite, right? So I don't need to repeat myself 1,000 times. You want to know what I think? Obviously, this is completely fan fiction for me.
You think they just didn't give a fuck?
No. This is me losing myself in it as a super fan. That's not Freddy.
Tell me about it. Oh, it's not Freddy.
That's something worse than Freddy. That's the real New Nightmare.
Ah, okay. So you think that's like a demonic force unto itself?
That is
posing
something
as Freddy Krueger?
That's exactly what I think. Because that thing was so sinister. You don't trust that Freddy at all.
No. And
It's
again,
it's so haunting, and how sinister he is. That's not Freddy. That's something else.
That scene where
you'd be wanting to run into Freddy when you see that guy.
That Freddy is scary.
Something else.
He's bizarrely scary. That scene at the pool scene where she Jesse's girlfriend or whatever she's at that point in the film, she's looking at Freddy through the fire. Lisa looking at Freddy through the fire, and he's making that snarl look at first, but then he has that shock look on his face. We've brought up the picture on these shows before.
It's incredible, the reaction.
He's so freaky in that expression he's given them. It's like a bewildered. He almost looks terrified himself in that one little shot, through the fire. Dude, it's fucking. And everything at the end of the film in that giant boiler set. He is so.
That's something
incredible.
Else, dude.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That is another. That's another entity. Brandon,
I could buy that.
That's one of the. I said this on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, everybody. Jesse is the best performance out of the entire Nightmare on Elm Street series.
I could see that,
and I'll tell you why. He is the only one that truly makes me believe he is fucking terrified. I mean, really terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, really fucking terrified, right? I mean, when you watch the movie, you buy him.
You do. You absolutely do.
And I'm Clu Gallagher in that movie. I'm not a father, but I definitely think I can fix everything in the house. Just needs to shut a free on, Mom. I told you. Like, I definitely think I can fix everything in my house, and I really can't fix a goddamn thing, right? But I think I can. But I think that Mark Patton is the all-time best performance in that entire series.
I can see that.
And I love Grady, Robert Russler in the movie too.
Oh yeah.
It's clear that they're supposed to be a gay couple, right? Like, well, obviously we know about the subtext. It really wasn't subtext. We know now that Mark Patton being gay really elevated the way that performance came out, especially from the writing. But I think that Grady probably was gay too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, do you feel that?
I guess I could see that. I haven't really thought about it in that way before, but I guess I could see that, everything else considered in that movie.
I mean, they're Grady picks on him. He gives
Yeah,
him
there is
hell
sort
on the
of
ball
like a,
on the
there's sort of
ball
like a
field.
crush thing. Yeah, there's like a crush thing going on. He
And,
pantses him in the baseball field.
Grady
Yeah.
doesn't have a love interest.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I think maybe he might have been gay, but he wasn't ready to accept it yet or come out yet. But maybe I'm stretching. You know, you watch this movie 1,000 times, you start building up ideas in your head.
You know what's hilarious?
The chat
is
is the chat saying, "Nah, there's just bros being bros," and that's probably you're probably right. Of course, there's no real answer because it's a fucking movie, right? But I can. You watch this movie 1,000 times over 10 years, and like you could start. But Bob Shea as the bartender.
That was fucking hilarious, dude. What's hilarious though is as a kid you watched this movie 100,000 times. I didn't pick up on any of the gay subtext or anything until I saw the 2010, 2011 Nightmare documentary, and they were talking about it. That's the first time I even noticed any of that stuff so blatantly. And then you're like, oh, that makes sense now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean it's not even funny how obvious it. Oh, you know what else is a great scene, dude? The very end of the movie, after the arm pops out of that girl's chest, and that bus driver is fucking booking it, and it's literally doing this, dude. Could you imagine if you were on that bus? Fuck being afraid of Freddy, dude. Your head's going into the roof of that bus.
Yeah,
dude.
you're fucking
like this. You're like
you're dead. You're dead.
And Brandon, of course, you've noticed that's Robert Englund driving the bus in the beginning of the film with long hair.
Oh yeah,
that's why I'm saying, dude, that's not Freddy. Robert's the bus driver.
Right, sleazy bus driver.
But anyway, I think we've got a lot of people. We got a lot of people who love part 2. Jesse leaves the girl to run to Grady's bedroom. What dude does that? Jesse's obviously gay. Grady, I don't think so, but he's a good friend. I don't know, John. You know, it's up for debate. It's up for debate. Grady was a. I don't know. What do I know? Robert Englund is in Galaxy of Terror. That's right, Michael. I watched Robert did that documentary that came out on him about a month or so ago. It's incredible, Brandon. You need to see it. The Robert Englund story. Oh, it's so good. But Dreams and Nightmares is the name of it. Speaking of Nightmare, guys, thank you for hanging out. We're at an hour and 42. We're now to the first movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. Drop your star rating. Brandon, take it away. Because I think you have a mixed opinion on the first film.
I do have a mixed opinion. Well, I don't know if it's mixed. I just think it's a really well-made film.
It's checks mixed.
All of its flaws included. I think there's a lot of flaws in the movie, but all the first chapters of any of these franchises are incredibly flawed. That helps add to their mystique, I guess you could say. It obviously did the legacy work of introducing the world to Springwood, Ohio, and Freddy Krueger and the cast of characters, Nancy Thompson, all that stuff, the iconic house and the iconic theme song and all that weird stuff. I think it's got a lot of cool, really actual frightening scenes, really quick frightening scenes, like the lamb goat thing in the hallway was bizarre out of nowhere. Tina in the body bag was pretty jarring. There's weird stuff in the film like that that's pretty freaky, pretty creepy on a real visceral level. I think Freddy's makeup's not well refined yet. He didn't have the hook nose, but it was still good. He was still freaky, especially the scene like where he's smiling and he's chopping his fingers off. That's really well played. But Johnny Depp was cool. I think Heather Langenkamp did a pretty good job. The mom's good. John Saxon kicks ass as always. It's I just think I hate to use this word, but I think it's a really quiet film. It's a really I guess cozy is a better word. It's a very cozy horror movie. I use that word a lot in these kind of things, but it's a very quaint little cozy horror film. It really is something you can watch as a sleepy movie before you go to bed, pun intended, I guess. But there's something about it. I think when I reviewed it today, I let it be known that I considered it a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I do, but it's not a Crystal Skull because movies like Freddy's Revenge and Dream Warriors and Dream Master exist in the franchise. And those are to me, so much better movies than the first. Even Dream Child, I think, is a more fun movie than the first one. So the first one, and that's not the first movie's fault. I'm rambling. I'm trying to tie this up. It's not the first movie's fault. It's just I think the movie is a little bit hindered by the better films in the franchise, sort of like the original Friday the 13th. You know, like I still love that movie, but
Right.
the other movies are so much better to me that it's kind of like, I don't need to watch you anymore. You know,
Brandon, based on the audience score ratings, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, is definitely getting 5 stars as a median review. A lot of 5 stars. I actually wanted to bring up Kevin's comment because I agree with it. The intro of him making the glove is so fire when the music hits, when the music in the font hits. I actually do think that the intro of Elm Street is fucking great. And it's like boxed on screen, right? And
when
then
the logo pulls up, is that weird like bass drop.
And then you hear that.
Yeah.
It is a pretty insanely great intro.
It is good.
I would give the original Elm Street. I'd give the original Elm Street. If
I give
not
it
a
4 out of 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say 4.5 out of 5, close to perfect. I can't. I just think 2 is the greatest out of all of them. So I don't want to go perfect 5 on 1, but dude, it's greatest horror movie character ever created, in my opinion. Obviously, I would think that, but. I actually really love the scene where Freddy gets his face pulled off and it's a skeleton. That's, to me, that's like, there's humor in the first one.
There is.
You know?
It's so bizarre because every time I watch the original, which is few and far in between, I always still somehow forget that Robert Englund's voice is not being deepened yet in post-production in that film.
I kind of like that.
It's bizarre.
Now, but part 2, it completely works.
Oh, yeah.
But I would have almost rather have kept that for some of the sequels.
You
know, kind of like with Tarman's voice, but we've talked about that, how we like the higher pitch, more brains.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the scene where he comes through the wall above Heather is so incredible. It was so simple, yet the remake couldn't recreate it. That says something. Yeah, we talked about that at the top, CR. You know, Wes Craven definitely knew how to make terror. Jamie, how are you? Brandon, this has been fun, dude.
It's been a blast, man.
What is the worst Elm Street film?
The worst? The remake, for sure.
What is the best Elm Street film?
Dream Warriors.
I was just waiting to see.
Is he gonna speak or did he freeze or what's going on?
The best Elm Street film to me is Freddy's Revenge, and the worst Elm Street film to me is Dream Warriors.
Say that again?
I'm just so kidding. I'm kidding. The best Elm Street film to me is, in fact, Freddy's Revenge. I'd say the worst is the remake.
Yeah.
But I'd still, again, I give the remake 2.5 stars. There are things I do like and things I don't like. So, 13 years later. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to say the remake is the worst. I see some people trying to say 5, and they're saying sorry. Don't apologize to me. I can't help that you have bad taste.
Speaking of part 2, that fucking chrome Terminator logo at the beginning of part 2 is so damn good. Just out of nowhere. Right? Freddy's Revenge. I love that shit.
The score is so fucking dark.
It's it's epic. I love it. It's fantastic. It's one of the best scores in the franchise, part 2.
So audience, do you have any questions before we wrap up? I have any questions for me or Brandon? We'll do a lightning round real quick before we wrap it. This has been a very fun Freddy day.
Been good stuff.
This is all Brandon's idea, guys. If you haven't, tomorrow or tonight, go to Brandon's channel and Brandon, have you created a playlist for everything?
Yeah, the playlist, it all lives on the Nightmare on Elm Street playlist on my channel. I don't have a Freddy Day playlist, but everything recent's on there that I've done. All the videos and the reviews and stuff. All the remastered songs are in the remastered songs playlist, but you don't really need to watch those to be.
Go to Brandon's channel. Yeah, go to because I there's a few things I have to catch, but I caught a lot of it today. But there's a few things I could go to Brandon's channel and you can literally go start today and watch all the Elm Street content he did. It was awesome. It was really cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah, do that.
Hold on,
And sub
BK.
to the channel.
I'm sorry. I thought I said that. Freddy's Revenge tickles my pink. My second favorite. God bless you.
Commendable.
Thank you. Let's see, Brandon. Let's do a couple questions. What do you think of the Freddy's Goldberg episode, the last Freddy appearance possibly ever? Brandon does not like it. Said he looks fat and old and folded.
The makeup, dude. I get the.
He's wearing a
whatever.
silicone.
I'm gonna
right?
shut up. It is no, he's not. I think they actually did the real stuff. It's just something about it. It looks like he's wearing a silicone mask. It does not look good. His lips are like out of place. He's too heavy. It just I don't know. Something about that iteration did not work, dude. I wish I hadn't seen that.
Look, Slick Ninja. Look at Brandon's thing when I get rid of your comment. Tabata Vision. YouTube.com/
Mhm.
That's
No
why it's
at
up,
symbol.
That's why it's up there, pimp.
Mhm.
I think it is nice to see, but I'd be lying to myself. It'd be like saying Ric Flair was as good in 1994 as he was in 1984. So if they rebooted the franchise, is Kevin Bacon your pick for Freddy? No. Personally.
I think he would be. Well, that was England's idea a couple years ago, but I don't think
I wouldn't
it would
want to
be my
know the
first
person.
choice. I think he would do good for a trilogy of films. I think Kevin Bacon would do a really good job, but he's already too old to carry a whole franchise. He could do maybe 2 or 3 films, but that wouldn't be my first choice if I were picking an actor. It wouldn't be I don't know who the fuck it would be, but it wouldn't be Kevin Bacon necessarily. Except unless it was a trilogy, self-contained.
Okay, fair enough. Can Freddy be recasted, or did England set the bar too high?
Can absolutely be recast. Every role on the planet can be recast.
Yeah. And it's hard because Dead End Cinema, I can't judge what I haven't seen yet. So I can't judge. So even though Kevin Bacon would be my first pick, do I think he could do something? Sure. I'd have to see it. He could win me over. My gut instincts would be like, I don't think that would be something I would like to see. I could be proven completely wrong, though. So it's hard to judge what I can't see. But did England set the bar high? I think he created the greatest horror villain of all time. So, I don't know. It depends on what day you ask me, too. There are some days where I'll say, pack it up. You never touching Robert. I have those days. What is your favorite glove from the franchise? I like how thick and nasty they started looking in the higher numbered sequels, like 4, 5, and 6. The gloves are real bulky and chunky. Like 5 has a great glove. 4 has a great glove.
4 has I think 4 is a really iconic glove. I like that glove a lot. But I have to go with the organic bone glove from New Nightmare. I just love that shit. As cheesy as it looks, I fucking love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the least favorite is the Freddy versus Jason glove because the glove's like a white glove. When you see you do him like this, you see his palm of his hand. It's like white fabric, and it looks really fucking bizarre when he turns his hand this way. But yeah, I'd say either 4 or New Nightmare.
PP Dangler with a $5 super chat. Thank you. You can only make one movie: Jason versus Michael, Freddy versus Michael, or Freddy versus Jason Part 2. Oh, I got an easy answer for that, Brandon. Easy.
Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy
Part
versus
2.
Jason Part
Fucking
2.
A.
Michael versus Freddy. Freddy would absolutely obliterate Michael. He's slow. Jason versus Michael. Come on, Jason would absolutely decimate Michael. What are we talking about here? What is Michael going to do? Angelically walk towards Jason? You know how angry I'm making people right now, Brandon. Like, could you imagine? Now, if you took Rob Zombie's Michael Myers, Brandon, and put that up against like Ken Kersinger, that Michael might actually obliterate that Ken Kersinger or something.
Yeah.
But it really depends on which. Here's the truth. I'm having fun, guys. I don't want to piss y'all off. It really depends on what iteration of Michael Myers we're talking here. Yeah. I mean, it really does. No offense, but I think Nick Castle would get bitch slapped by anybody. I
Yeah.
mean, what are we talking about here? Thank you, PP Dangler, for the $5 super chat. I tell you what.
Listen to me. The next time you're at the theater, buy a box of milk duds or sneak them in, and go to the hot butter and drizzle it all into the box of milk duds. It is the best thing you'll ever have in your life.
An old classic. Look at that.
Part 6, Myers, you got an argument there, Tiger Man. All right,
Okay.
let's do 2 more questions, Brandon. Let me pick some people that haven't got their questions answered. Here's a good one. Favorite movie poster from the franchise? Mine's actually Freddy's Dead. I love Freddy's Dead's poster.
It's a good question. I love the artwork of the 4th movie.
The
I think
Junkyard.
that fucking poster is the most iconic poster to me. When I was like in Videoland, that VHS tape stared at me the hardest, I think. But also, and I don't really see this poster very often, but because the VHS cover art did not have the poster, but the New Nightmare poster, just the black with like the red eyes, is such a sick poster.
Teaser.
Yeah, the teaser poster. So I guess it doesn't really count. I'm gonna say 4. 4 is the best poster.
One more question, Brandon. Let's see what we got. Let's find a good question. Which director would you want to helm a reboot or sequel? I'm gonna go with Adam. I'm gonna go with Adam Green.
He would probably do a journeyman's job. I'm not even being facetious. I'm saying he could probably do a journeyman's job. I don't know, man.
I'm going with Adam Marcus.
I would be more focused on who's writing it than directing it. Because if you have a competent director, he can direct any. But if you don't have a good script, it's not going to matter. You know, I'd be focused on who's writing the script first, as I'd be more worried about.
Yeah, 10-4. I'm gonna stick with Adam Green on this. I
wouldn't want Ty West or any of like everybody always says the typical fresh face of the day. I wouldn't want any of those guys to direct it. I want something weird.
I think Adam Green can pull it off, Brandon.
I want a Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie's the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Gary Moon's playing Freddy. And yeah. Malcolm McDowell is Freddy. There you go.
I want Malcolm McDowell to direct. I want to write and direct. I've never seen a fucking Elm Street. You want me to write it? What the hell's it about? That was more Australian than British. There we go. Brandon, do you have any final thoughts for the audience on National Freddy Krueger Day? Did we succeed tonight?
I think we did. This is a good show.
Are you worn out?
I'm worn out anyway, but this is going to help me go to sleep for sure.
Did you have fun?
I had a blast. Did you have fun?
I did. Chat, did you have fun tonight?
Sound off.
Did you enjoy it? Are you ready for Troll 2 Day? Where we break down every scene line by line and look for the nuances.
Oh, hell yeah. Just trip on acid from morning till night.
What if we did a stream called Finding Out What Brand Milk They Used in Troll 2 when the guy goes to the country store?
It's like an all-day event. I love it. Let's do that.
Brandon, are we doing a pizza show soon?
When? Are you talking about Breaking Bread?
I don't know, Breaking Bread. Just me and you doing one for Planet Dirty. It'd be a hell of a lot easier to book
Listen
that.
to me. Like Vasquez says, anytime, anywhere, I'm always going to do pizza.
I know.
I was going to make a point, but I forgot what the point was. But I will do pizza anytime, anywhere.
Brandon, the chat had a great time tonight.
They did.
I want to shout out all the super chat people. Super chats from PP Dangler. Big K's Movies and Games, Zombie Madness, Anthony O'Donnell, Michael Piatowski, Chris Snyder, Nightmare Films, TBG, Ben Grimm, Alexis Hara, Pap Master, Mickey B, TBG again, and Saturn Video. Thank you guys so much for your generosity and support of the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. Brandon, what's the next show? Do we know what the next show is?
I don't know. I have no idea. We talked about something, didn't we, recently? Oh, we want to do the Mountain Dew show.
We want to do a voodoo.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find voodoo yet, man. I haven't been able to find it. It's nowhere. Is it out?
We're gonna be doing a voodoo Jason X show.
Jason X is always a good time.
To do voodoo.
Voodoo. Technically, it should be like Voodoo Zombie 2. Right? Technically, because
dude, fuck it. The Voodoo Zombie 4 Living After Death show.
We're doing the Voodoo Steel Magnolias Super Show.
The Voodoo Killer Tomatoes from Outer Space.
Yes.
Pizza Power Party.
I'm down. I'm down. God, I want pizza now. Son of a bitch.
All right, Brandon, tell the audience good night.
Have a good night.
Mongolian beef. It is off the chain.
Oh, I don't
It's
taste
crispy. Dude, it's fantastic. That shit is fantastic.